Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at, well, a really compelling vision for modern evangelical action, especially within the Free Church community. Our mission really is to unpack this powerful synergy between some ancient spiritual wisdom and core Christian narratives. We want to pull out timeless principles for, spiritual awakening, divine intervention, and spreading truth, all aimed at inspiring, hopefully, a renewed commitment to Christian outreach and personal transformation.
Yeah, and we're drawing on some fascinating sources today. We've got the ZOHAR, which is, a key text in Jewish mysticism. Then there's Daniel chapter 12 and Acts chapter 9 from the New Testament. It's probably worth noting right up front, while some sources might touch on legalistic interpretations of things like religious freedom, we're really zeroing in on the, let's say, the theological and motivational reasons for spiritual and community action today.
Okay, good distinction. So let's dive into the Zohar first. It talks about this primordial light, right? Something concealed from the wicked, but destined to shine on the righteous. And it's framed not really as punishment, but more like a protective thing, creating an impetus for us, for humanity, to actively go after spiritual truth.
Exactly. And what's really fascinating there, I think, is the Zohar's idea of intellectual blockages. Basically, things that hinder us from accepting spiritual truth, our own biases, maybe. And here's where it gets interesting connecting it. This seems to parallel Saul's conversion in Acts 9 pretty closely. His physical blindness on the Damascus Road, you could see that as a direct manifestation of his prior spiritual blindness. And that light from heaven wasn't just blinding light. It was the very thing that removed those spiritual impediments, like unveiling something.
Yeah. Okay, so not just seeing the light, but the light actually doing something to allow sight, spiritually speaking. And the Zohar also stresses that true spiritual work is about internalizing these truths. Right? Until doing good becomes just, part of who you are intrinsically. It sounds a lot like the work of the Holy Spirit in Christian understanding, that inner transformation.
Precisely. And connecting that to the bigger picture, Rav Michael Laitman's take on the Zohar is interesting. He talks about how hearing the Creator's voice cultivates this desire to bestow, an altruistic giving, moving away from just a self-serving will to receive. And that's not just some abstract spiritual idea. It's actually the intrinsic motivation for genuine outreach, evangelism. It shifts your whole focus from getting to giving.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Moving on then, let's look at Daniel 12. It prophesies this unparalleled time of distress. But instead of just being a source of despair, this prophetic context seems to act as maybe a divinely ordained motivator. It sort of accelerates the urgency for evangelism. It's a push to act.
Yeah, it definitely adds urgency. But it also raises this question because Daniel also talks about an increase of knowledge in the end times. And maybe this isn't just about understanding prophecy. Could it also encompass those Zohar insights? Like humanity being a collective soul. And think about today, the internet literally connecting the thoughts of people everywhere. Global interdependence, right? It becomes this incredibly powerful force, potentially, for spreading the gospel to all nations. It's a modern tool fulfilling an ancient vision, perhaps.
That's a fascinating connection. And we have Acts 9, Saul's conversion. I mean, it's such a dramatic story. A paradigm of personal transformation.
Right.
His radical shift going from persecutor to, the chief proclaimer, it directly shows that desire to bestow in action, doesn't it? It's like an outpouring of his new nature. He just had to share.
Absolutely. But crucially, Saul's transformation wasn't just him alone in a vacuum. Ananias had to obey God and go to him, right? And the early Christian community had to accept him, which must have been incredibly difficult. And this really echoes that Zohar concept again, humanity as one creature, a collective soul. It underlines that effective evangelical action, it's a communal thing, it happens together. Our interconnectedness, it actually amplifies the impact.
Right. So pulling all this together, what does it mean for you listening, for modern evangelical doing? The Zohar's idea of light dissemination seems to converge really powerfully with Christian outreach, and it suggests it's not just about speaking words, but about embodying the truth through, holistic action, addressing the whole person, physical, emotional, spiritual needs, because you yourself have been changed.
Exactly. And this creates a kind of continuous loop, doesn't it? A reinforcing cycle. Your inner transformation fuels authentic outreach. And then that outward action serving others actually deepens your own inner understanding and connection. And the Free Church community today, it seems uniquely positioned to leverage this understanding. Our collective soul, global interdependence, even digital platforms, these are all tools potentially to participate in maybe a worldwide spiritual awakening.
So ultimately, this kind of evangelical doing demands, courage, definitely. Courage to speak the gospel truth, even when it's hard or unpopular. But also humility, maybe. Humility to hear truth about ourselves, to keep growing spiritually. It's a two-way street.
I think so. The synthesis here, drawing from the ZOHAR, Daniel Acts, it offers a really rich, deeply motivational framework. It shows that authentic action isn't just like a task list. It flows naturally from profound internal transformation, and it's empowered by this divine presence seeking to illuminate and connect us all.
So the call, then, is for you to step boldly into your role, whatever that looks like, as an agent of divine light and transformation, participating in God's unfolding plan for a world that's, well, awaiting spiritual awakening and redemption. So the question for you is, what does this mean for your very next step in spreading that light?